Good afternoon and welcome to Be Still and Know, a blog where we're going to go through the Bible looking at what it means to be still, what it means to know, and what it means to know God, and the need to be still. We're going to talk about that today. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." We focused on being still. We know that God is love from earlier lessons, and that we want to know Him. We want to learn how to be still. And our mind is running back and forth all the time, running to and fro, up and down. It just seems like it can't be stopped. Our attention's pulled away, taken away from everything but God. So we're going to look into that a little bit today. Along with the idea of our minds running amok, running crazy, and running to and fro, it seems like we're always focused on something else, always running around in our minds, and in these days, with our bodies too, we're always distracted. We're bringing ourselves to one thing, taking ourselves to another thing, picking up the kids. It's time for this, it's time for that. We have to do this, we have to do that. We never take time and be still. And the other day, I know I talked about Job a little bit. And one thing that's really caught my attention is in Job 1, verses 6 and 7. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came with them also. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" And Satan answered the Lord, "From running throughout the earth, going up and down, back and forth, and to and fro." Now, it seems to be a pattern that he uses. The confusion, the anxiety, the fear of running to and fro, your mind running to and fro to keep you from the Lord. It's interesting that in this verse, the to and fro, sometimes in the Hebrew, is defined as a curse. So that curse of running back and forth, not being able to stop, think, or see God, or hear Him. That's what the curse is. And that's what Satan's trying to do. He's trying to keep us from that stillness, keep us in unrest, and keep us moving in His direction and not sitting quietly. And that's a metaphor. Because not being quiet, still, to know God, to know His voice. Okay, let's jump up to Matthew. In the book of Matthew, in chapter 24, much of it is about Jesus explaining to the disciples what's going to happen in the end of the age. And on a study I'm doing on a different page, talked about this message. He talked about that, how it relates to Revelation, but we're not trying to be prophetic or doing the Revelation thing here. But after Jesus goes through that with the disciples, tells them all the things that are going to happen, he says, "At that time, if anyone says to you, 'Look, here is the Messiah,' there he is, do not believe it, for false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, even if possible, the elect. See, I have told you ahead of time." When I read that again, after reading the verse in Job, to me it sounded like, okay, somebody's going to be saying, more than likely Satan, "There he is, there he is, there he is," and having you run to and fro around the earth looking for a Messiah. We know He's coming. We know it's in God's time and God's plan. And we know that if we read the Word, that we don't know the time. We can know the season, but we can't know the time. So be cautious to who you hear, who you listen to, and what they're saying. Make sure that it's God talking. Don't be misled by looking here and there, looking to and fro and up and down, and not being still. Just know in your heart, because you've had that time of stillness, you've had that time to know God, you've had that time to know love, that any message that's not coming from Him, you're going to know it. You just have to listen closely. All right, so tomorrow night we have a celestial phenomenon. The Star of Bethlehem is going to appear because certain planets are lining up. It's going to be a beautiful sight, and it should should waken your heart to love, hope, that something better is coming in 2020. But I still want you to think about the being still part. As you see that star, be still. Look at it, understand its meaning. Get still enough to hear God's voice telling you why it's there. And the wise men came, when they came to the stable, they had stopped in Jerusalem and were asking where the King of the Jews was born. For they had seen his star and came to worship him. The wise men followed a star. The star marked the birth of Jesus at God's perfect time, God's perfect place. Everything was the way God wanted it. And Jesus was born, and he was there. And this year, the star is going to appear again. And I believe it's for a reason. It's for a reason to announce that something's going to change. Okay, so on we go. In Matthew 24:36, it says, "But about that hour and that day no one knows, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. For as in the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For in those days, before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving into marriage until the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing of the flood." So they knew nothing of the flood. They were living life as normal, not paying attention to God. Much like we're saying today, where our minds are so distracted, so filled with unrest, that we can't know God, we can't hear him. Let's go back into 24 a little earlier, where Jesus says, don't be deceived. There'll be false prophets. There'll be people doing false miracles. They won't be godly. And it also says, look here, he's out here in the wilderness. Look here, he's in the house. Look here, he's this place. Look here, here's who I am. We're being distracted. We'll be running to and fro in our minds. Some people will even run to and fro physically to go. I just hope from the start tonight that you can learn the stillness. You can learn what it's all about, that it's the love that Jesus brought to this world. Because God is love, and Jesus was named Emmanuel, God with us. So Jesus was named Love with us. And we have to have that love to be able to discern what's going to be happening, to discern the false prophets. Now, I'm connecting this with the star because I couldn't get it out of my head for the past 2 days. I kept trying to break it as it was coming, trying to not do this, trying to essentially protect myself, and it just wasn't working. So I put that out. Is this star going to hold a dual meaning tomorrow? Is it going to signify the coming of something else? Is it going to be part of the times and the seasons that we should know? Or is it going to be the joy of a baby, the love that a baby can show its parents, because they know nothing but love. They know how to give love back. Just pick a baby up and they look you in the eyes, you know that it's love. But is there going to be a dual meaning to this, where it's marking something else? We can read in 1 Timothy the whole section that talks about what it'll be like in the end times. In Matthew, it talks about what it'll be like in the end times, and it does seem kind of the same as it is going on here. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I want you to be wary, be still. Don't be at unrest. Don't let your mind go to and fro. Don't go to and fro. Find a place to be still. Be still and know God. Thanks for listening. This is Be Still and Know. God bless, and Merry Christmas.